Welcome to the Big Z Breakdown. I'm your host, Mike Zanetti, and I know I'm dressed up, but it might be a little bit of a longer episode. I figured why not play the role of the GM for every single NFL team in the first round. Gonna start with some news around the sports world, right? You had the March Madness National Championship, the Florida Gators playing the Houston. English is hard. Houston Cougars, the top ranked seed, two top ranked seeds, first time in a long time. But the Gators, they win their third national championship in nearly 2 decades. Last time they won it back in '06 and '07. It was back-to-back years, but that was something going on. I know this isn't really a top story, but I feel like G League, I feel like it's a fun story. The Osceola Magic, Mac McClung, the dunk contest winner, absolutely throwing down, going crazy. So that's gotta be some interesting stuff for some people, especially when he just dropped 39 points, 42 points, and then 29 in Game 1 against the Stockton Kings. I know nobody really cares about G League, but I wanted to cover those two things before we absolutely dive in to what could be a crazy first round of the NFL draft. And let's put it on the screen for everyone. Now with the news out of the way, we're going to go right into the draft with the first overall pick in the Tennessee Titans. Now, what do the Titans do? There's a few different options wide open, at least I think so, because they said they might go best available. They haven't ruled out other positions than quarterback, but they definitely don't need Will Levis to start next season. He's not the answer in terms of a long-term franchise quarterback, but when looking at the quarterbacks in this year's draft class, there is not anyone that really stands out from the rest. Yes, Cam Ward is a great talent. He's got great arm talent. He played great for Miami. They were basically down all the time, so all he had to do was throw it. But my point here is we have not really seen any generational talents, right? Joe Burrow, first overall pick worthy. I'm not saying Cam Ward's not, but he's definitely going to take some time to develop into the league, right? There's no Trevor Lawrence's, Kyler Murray's. I mean, the comparison for Cam Ward right now is Jamarcus Russell because he's got that tall body type. He's got the intangibles, but does he show up in the film room? Does he put in the effort? Is he going to be a coach's nightmare or a coach's dream? Like, that's what you have to consider. So there's options for the Titans to go at other positions if they don't think Cam Ward is their guy for the future. Like, compare this year's quarterback class to last year where there was, 5-6 quarterbacks taken in the first 12 picks. I mean, that's remarkable. So, I mean, people are saying J.J. McCarthy might be the best quarterback in this year's class if he was carried over from last season. But besides the point, I'm still going to take Cam Ward after saying all that. I just feel like if the Titans don't take Cam Ward, quarterback would definitely not be any better than it was last year with Will Levis. So Cam Ward to the Titans. However, I could see Abdul Carter being the first overall pick just because the Titans need a lot more than just quarterback. But you look at the Browns' second pick now. Again, this is a tough spot. The Browns are rumored to Kirk Cousins. They're rumored to go get a veteran quarterback. I don't know what's going to happen. They just traded for Kenny Pickett a little while ago. So we're just going to say that they go best available, whether that's edge rusher, cornerback. They could trade back 100%. They might just be crazy enough to take Will Campbell or Membu from Missouri. But looking at what we got to go best available. Abdul Carter, absolute stud on the defensive line. Great edge rusher for Penn State. You saw how dominant he was for them. Got a little banged up in the playoffs, but that don't matter. You have your Robin to Batman in terms of Myles Garrett and that massive contract extension. Giants, what do they do here? They just signed a quarterback, Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, but with the amount of money Russell Wilson is making, it's almost likely that he will be a starter. Now, it's good for the Giants. I love what the Giants are doing. It's a nice little bridge quarterback type of season. And the only reason I say that is because if you draft Shadur Sanders at number 3 overall, who I am not a fan of, I'll drop my top 5 quarterbacks next, but I am not a fan of all of these quarterbacks, especially in the first round of all rounds, taking a quarterback. I think you have way other needs that you can go. Travis Hunter, one of the generational cornerbacks who won the Heisman, is sitting right on the screen. You could easily go with cornerback. You have other positions that need too. The offensive line needs to be addressed. You could go with Membu. You got Will Johnson, another cornerback that probably go later. But the Giants should definitely take Travis Hunter. They could go get a quarterback second or third round if they want, right? There's no reason the Giants need to force a quarterback. You're not going to be good in one season with a quarterback. Just look at the Patriots with Drake May last year. I know he didn't get thrusted into play until midseason. He played solid, but quarterback can't be the only position that performs. Drake May played solid last year, and still the Patriots were not good because their defense was bad. They had no receivers. So if you're the Giants right here, you have Malik Neighbors. Wait on a long-term quarterback. You do not have to pull the trigger at number 3 overall on somebody in a Shedeur Sanders who did not play very well versus BYU or any top defense for that matter. So Travis Hunter to the Giants at 3. I know I'm taking a long time for each pick, but I want to explain every single pick. The Patriots. Well, if I'm the GM of the New England Patriots, you just signed Stephon Diggs, which I would have never done in terms of the massive contract that he got, $20 million a year for a 31-year-old wide receiver who just tore his ACL last year. Man, that's a lot of money. But I understand it's a veteran presence. I wouldn't mind if the Patriots went wide receiver here. It really doesn't make the worst sense in the world, but they definitely need to fill out that offensive line. Will Campbell, solid, but we're going with Armand Membou from Missouri. I love the pick here. I feel like the Patriots, they feel like the team that could take a tackle. I'm not going to trade back unless I 100% believe that this is a team that is going to trade back. Most likely this will be a non-trade first round. I know that was a pretty quick one. I love the Patriots to take a wide receiver. Maybe they go out and get Ashton Jeanty. I think that's a dumb idea, but we'll just keep it how it is. The Jaguars, they need a defensive tackle. There is nobody on that interior defensive line unless you think Damon Hamilton is going to be able to plug up the middle. It's not looking too good for the Jaguars. So I don't even know who's really else is there unless Roy Robertson Harris is going to step up. But, whoever is watching this video is probably thinking to themselves, who the hell are those two players? So let me go ahead and just take Mason Graham to take away the confusion from me trying to argue that the Jaguars don't need a defensive tackle. So first 5 picks off the board if you're listening in the car on Spotify. Cam Ward to the Titans, Abdul Carter to the Browns, Travis Hunter to the Giants, and Armand Membou to the Patriots. Mason Graham goes to the Jaguars. So first 5 picks out of the way. This is an interesting one. The Raiders. There's been rumors they go Shedeur Sanders. I really don't know what they do, but I feel like Pete Carroll just reunited with Geno Smith. He just re-signed him to a longer contract. I think Geno, he's not the future, but he's definitely a bridge quarterback that the Raiders can win a couple games with. Honestly, right now, I'm looking at wide receiver for the Raiders because you have Jacoby Myers. If you draft Tetairoa McMillan, that's a good option. There's rumors the Raiders might go with Ashton Jeanty, which I do not mind at all. But when you look at the Raiders roster right now, the next 2 receivers are Trey Tucker, outside of Jacoby Myers, and Kyle Phillips. I don't think that's very good. Brock Bowers is great and all, but this is where I would not be surprised if I see the Raiders pull a trigger on a wide receiver. So why not give me the, I believe, top receiver in the draft? People are saying that McMillan has fallen off. He doesn't have a good attitude. The stats aren't there to back it up. This guy played at Arizona, arguably one of the worst quarterback rooms ever. And the amount of plays, I've seen him play in person at UCF. He is a monster. People said the same thing about Drake London. Oh, he can't be a route runner. He's not going to be good in the NFL. No way. Tetairoa McMillan is not a name that is going to be absolutely going crazy, either in fantasy, real life. I don't care. McMillan is going to be a name you guys have to pick up on. And I know people are, at least from the shorts that I've seen, I don't know anybody else hearing the rumors about Tetairoa McMillan, but this guy's a monster. He is a jump ball guy. Yes, he might not be the best route runner, but honestly, on an Arizona team, for the numbers that he put up, yes, he is a top 10 pick. I don't care about everyone else saying, I don't even know why this guy's a top 10 pick. Yes, McMillan's good. I'm going to stand by it. I love McMillan to the Raiders. Get your wide receiver room right. Trey Tucker is a perfect slot receiver. Jacoby Myers, a good number 1 or 2 to go next to McMillan. Absolutely love it. First 6 picks off the board, McMillan to the Raiders. The Jets, I don't know what they do. To be completely fair, they need too many things. Offensive tackle. Will Johnson sitting right there in your lap. There's been rumors they want to trade Breece Hall. What if they just go out and get Ashton Jeanty? I think that'd be dumb, but Again, the what ifs. I got to put it out there. Will Johnson, cornerback. Shedeur Sanders. Then maybe the Jets go with a Michael Penix move. The Falcons did. Go get Shedeur Sanders. You just signed Justin Fields. I know it's not a big contract, but you still have to keep that in the back of your mind. You got, honestly, Tyler Warren sitting right on the board. I wouldn't mind that either. You get Garrett Wilson. You get Tyler Warren. I don't mind that connection. But I feel like the Jets are going to go phototypical, safe, tackle Will Campbell. He drops to 7. And I wouldn't even say drop, but 2 tackles in the top 7 picks. Honestly, the Jets might just trade back. However, top 7 picks off the board. Panthers, again, they need a lot, but Will Johnson sitting right on the board, and he's sitting pretty. Shedeur Sanders is there, but Bryce Young, we've seen him kind of bounce back last season. I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers went out and got like a Shamar Stewart, who is an absolute monster. But Will Johnson is just too talented as a Michigan corner. You can't let him slip any further. Panthers get Will Johnson. Now, this is a weird pick because I've heard so many different things about the Saints. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they just go out and get Shedeur Sanders. I mean, it really doesn't make all that much sense to me because before the Raiders, when the Raiders lost, when they had that year where they went out and got Derek Carr, I was so confused because they were in salary cap madness, and that was never a good sign. So I was surprised they even made the Carr move. Now they have no cap space, and they need a quarterback very badly. Derek Carr is not the future. That contract did not work out. Is Spencer Rattler your guy? I really wouldn't be surprised if Shedeur Sanders fell to 9. I say fell, because I honestly do not like Shedeur Sanders for a first-round top 10 grade. I don't think he's going to succeed at the NFL level. In terms of my comp for him, I like Deshaun Watson, not Browns Deshaun Watson, Texans Deshaun Watson, because we've seen so many times Shedeur run around, make crazy plays with his legs. Yes, you can say the offensive line was not very good, but when you look at what he does on the field, a lot of the crazy throws that he makes reminds me of Deshaun Watson breaking tackles in the backfield, whether it's the Bills game or he gets spun around against the Raiders. I'm a Texans fan, so let me tell you. I tell you, I watch a lot of Deshaun Watson escaping the pocket and running around like a crazy person, and all I'm screaming at the television is get rid of the ball. The problem with Shedeur, he may make some explosive plays. I already picked him to the Saints. I don't know if it's the best idea for them, but I think it's kind of funny. So Shedeur goes to the Saints, but him running around is it's going to have some fun with some fans. I don't know if they do it with Spencer Rattler there, but there's definitely been rumors that they might go quarterback. Maybe they just take Ashton Jeanty. I feel like why not pull the trigger on a team that definitely needs a quarterback but doesn't know who to take, and they like the flashy stuff from Shedeur. So he falls to 9. I don't like him as a overall all-around prospect because there are flaws to his game in terms of he runs around way too much, and that can lead to chaos in the NFL. We saw Caleb Williams try and do it 100 times over the first few weeks. It didn't work because all those fast defensive ends are going to track you down. But Sanders, he's going to be good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's going to be bad. He's definitely a solid prospect. But from what I've seen, I would say second round. I think there's not enough there. Yes, the arm talent is nice. The running ability is great. I don't think he can see the field as greatly as people believe that he can. So that's just my outlook. He can definitely turn out to prove me wrong. But if he is drafted to the Saints, that's probably the worst situation for him. Not a bad receiving room in Olave and Shaheed if they can both stay healthy. But at the same time, I just don't like the Saints drafting anybody. They just have not been a good team in a while, probably since, honestly, probably back from their Drew Brees days. They haven't been anything crazy. But Shedeur Sanders, honestly, let me know right now. Comment down below. Why would the Saints do this? Maybe it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. I'm just trying to be creative at this point. The Bears, number 10 overall. Ashton Jeanty is still sitting on the board. This running back kind of class with Hampton and Jeanty both being first-round kind of picks, they remind me of Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Jeanty and Hampton kind of went one after the other in around like the 7 to 10 range. Jeanty will be a top kind of 15 pick regardless. If he falls to the Bears, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes him. He's definitely not falling past the Cowboys. So wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys take Hampton as well, because they just drafted, or they just signed somebody as well. Maybe the Cowboys move up, but overall this is looking pretty scary that Shamar Stewart is going to fall to the Niners. They need an edge pretty bad. Stewart, monster at A&M. I mean, you just look at him, 6'5", 267. I mean, an athletic specimen, just a great size and speed getting around players. But I mean, all around, I mean, honestly, if there wasn't so many other talented positions in terms of those, in terms of the skill position players, if there was not Ashton Jeanty, Shadur Sanders, McMillan, honestly, there's a lot of good defensive players as well. But Stewart being the second edge off the board, in Abdul Carter going to the Browns, I love the pick. I think it's definitely a good idea. And now the Cowboys are up, and the Bears just stole their pick, and Ashton Jeanty. Do I think it happens? No, but let's have some fun with what I said about Bijan and Gibbs being Jeanty and Hampton. So Hampton is a good running back. I know people will be like, I don't know how to feel about it. Yes, 5'11", 221. He has some speed. And that's just what's reminding me of Jahmyr Gibbs. You have your Ashton Jeanty, your patient kind of run you over type of running back. And then there's Hampton, great left to right, great north and south. Just a quick, speedy back. I really don't see it not happening. I think the Cowboys are sitting at a perfect spot. Do they take a running back? Probably not, but I think it's fun to let's try something different and not take best possession available Jalen Walker to the Cowboys. That's boring, right? Let's change it up. In the 10, 11, 12, there's two running backs off the board in the 3 picks that there was there. So that's interesting to see there. Dolphins, they need a lot. Terron Armstead just retired. I think Kelvin Banks would be a perfect replacement to that. Mike Green from Marshall, a nice little edge rusher. Tyler Warren, he's probably going to fall to the next picks to the Colts for him to take him. But I'm looking at it right here. Dolphins, they should not really pass up on a Kelvin Banks sitting right there. I would love for him to fall to the Texans, but it's such a good pick. He was awesome at Texas, just a great grade in terms of a tackle. That's what you want to see, is a prototypical guy who could just block and be the guy for the future. Probably the most NFL ready tackle. I don't really know how to explain it, but 6'5", 315, awesome linebacker, awesome tackle who can just pick up blitzes. I don't even know how to. He's an awesome tackle. It's just because everything he does, the play recognition, just everything overall just shows you why he was the tackle that he was at Texas. Hopefully it makes sense. So next pick, the Colts. I'm going to move through these a little more quickly to try and not make this a 190-minute video. But Tyler Warren fell this far. Some analysts have called him kind of a middle of the pack first round, like a later first round pick. Same thing with the other tight end in Colston Loveland. But one more pick in the top 15, and we will recap picks 5 to 15 for anyone else listening. But overall, you're looking at Falcons most likely could trade back. But I would probably think Derek Harmon. They need another edge. I personally love Mykel Williams. I don't know if he goes this early. I think these rankings on Pro Football Focus, it's a little bit inaccurate. PFF is probably my favorite. Probably should have did that, realizing I wasn't going to do trades halfway through this, because it's just, you have to calculate that beforehand. I'm kind of going through this, just explaining every single pick. So they're going to go Mykel Williams to the Falcons. I love it a lot. But the first 5 picks, you had Ward to the Titans, Carter to the Browns, Hunter to the Giants, Membu to the Patriots, Graham to the Jags. Now we'll go 6 through 15. The Raiders get Tedero McMillan to pair up with Jacoby Myers and Geno Smith. Jets go offensive line Will Campbell from LSU. The Panthers go in the secondary cornerback Will Johnson from Michigan. Pick number 9, the Saints, Shadur Sanders from Colorado. The quarterback going top 10. The Bears at 10. Ashton Jeanty, running back Boise State, goes to the Chicago Bears. Pick 11, San Francisco 49ers take Shamar Stewart, edge from Texas A&M. 12, maybe not realistic, but Omar Hampton, running back from North Carolina, heads to Dallas. They definitely need a back. Number 13, Kelvin Banks Jr. to the Dolphins, offensive tackle from Texas. And pick 14, Tyler Warren falls into the lap of the Indianapolis Colts. And pick 15, Micah Williams, edge rusher from Georgia, to the Falcons. So, about a few more picks, close, probably about halfway through the first round, 15 picks there. So, Cardinals, next up. They need a lot. Their defense has not been good for them. They did pick up Josh Sweat in the offseason, which I did like a lot. They do need linebacker help. Matthew Golden would not be a bad idea. I was thinking to myself, do they go back-to-back years drafting a wide receiver in the first round? You got Marvin Harrison. You got another wide receiver. So it's just a matter of what do you go with here. And I don't mind Jalen Walker. I don't mind Colston Loveland. I know they just re-signed Trey McBride, so it wouldn't make the most sense. But I'm just looking at it from a best available standpoint. Jalen Walker looks like the best pick for the Cardinals. He fell this far. I haven't seen him go past kind of like pick 10 to 15. So I think it's a good pick for the Cardinals. Get another guy for coverage. You have a few guys on the line already, but another player to just bring in to round out your front seven. Love that move for the Cardinals. Now the Bengals. They need a lot on defense. We saw how bad it was last season. You could go cornerback. You could go edge. You could go defensive tackle. Honestly, there is so many moves that this team needs right now, but honestly, they need a cornerback pretty badly. And honestly, I don't know if it's too early to go with Siobhan Reevil from East Carolina. I think it's a little bit early, but overall, I'm probably gonna have to go with Mike Green from Marshall. Get some extra defensive line help. Because Trey Hendrickson in the future there is uncertain. You gotta sign a contract, Trey. You had almost half the team sacks last year, so they'll go with Mike Green, available edge rusher from Marshall. Pick 18, the Seattle Seahawks. Well, they just signed Sam Darnold. They just traded DK Metcalf. They got Jackson Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp. The heck do they do here? Well, they do need offensive line. They could go with Josh Simmons. That might be considered a little early. This is probably the most pick that I've seen happen, but it's Tyler Booker to the Seattle Seahawks. They need line bad. I like the two tackles that they have, but it's a matter of interior offensive line. I think Tyler Booker, great pick for the Seahawks. Moving on to the Buccaneers. Bucks top needs cornerback, safety, edge rusher, linebacker, defensive tackle, all defense. So Malachi Stark's perfect fit, absolutely perfect, plugs right in. I mean, he can move around a little bit if you want to go cornerback, safety. I think Starks is a great cornerback. I think, he could definitely be taken earlier. I think I've said 100 million thousand times, so apologies if you are getting irritation. Anyway, pick 20. Let's kind of wrap this going. All right, Matthew Golden falls to the Broncos. They need a wide receiver very badly. This is where I would not be surprised if the Pittsburgh Steelers took a Jalen Milroe or a Jackson Dart, but that is not the smart move right there. Derek Harmon sitting right there. They need a running back. I think they need an offensive tackle. They just lost Dan Moore to the Titans, so I'm going to take Josh Simmons for the Steelers. And we'll move on to the LA Chargers. The Chargers, they need a few things. Tight end is definitely in need. Defensive tackle. But the biggest thing they do need is a wide receiver. Emeka Egbuka. I know it's not a number one wide receiver, but he can definitely be a good number two to Quentin Johnston. And when you have Ladd McConkey in the slot already, it's a pretty match made in heaven if you ask me. The Packers. Well, the Chargers might have just took their pick, so do they go with a wide receiver? They have two really good tight ends. They need defense. Honestly, this is probably a trade back for the Packers. They definitely wouldn't reach on a wide receiver, but going defense, they'll probably just add to their defensive core Jahad Campbell from Alabama. I do like that for the linebacking core. Just round it out overall, best available if they don't trade back. Most likely, Emeka Egbuka could fall to them. They need a wide receiver. They have Christian Watson coming back from an ACL injury. You have Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed. I just feel like they need another name to add some firepower. They have a lot of good receivers, but not one that stands out. And if they might trade up, go get Tedero and McMillan, it's a tough situation there for the Green Bay Packers. Nick Emanwari to the Vikings, safety out of South Carolina. The Texans, they need offensive line pretty badly, but what do you go with here? I think the Texans could trade back as well, but this is a first-round mock with no trades. You got no tackles. I do like Gray Zabel from North Dakota State. Looking at the Texans' needs, they are not going to go with anything other than offense in the first round. Derek Harmon, Walter Nolan, I think they both fall to the second round. The Texans are going to go with Gray Zabel if they do not trade back. Colston Loveland, not a bad option, but Gray Zabel sitting right there. You need a guard to play the future for Laken Tomlinson, so that's the pick right there. Next 10 picks, let's recap it. After Micah Williams to the Falcons, you have pick 16, Jalen Walker, linebacker from Georgia to the Arizona Cardinals. Pick 17, Mike Green, edge rusher from Marshall to Cincinnati. Pick 18, the Seahawks take Tyler Booker, guard from Alabama. Pick 19, the Buccaneers take Malachi Stark, safety from Georgia. 20, Broncos, Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas. Steelers take Josh Simmons, offensive tackle, Ohio State. Emeka Ibuka, the pick after, back-to-back Buckeyes. 22nd goes to the LA Chargers. 23, Jahad Campbell, linebacker from Alabama, go to the Packers. Pick 24, Nick Emanwari to the Vikings, safety from South Carolina. So last pick, 25, Gray Zabel, guard from North Dakota State. Let's round out these final few picks here. The Rams, they need a few things. I really don't mind taking Colston Loveland, but I feel like he might just fall outside of the first round. Honestly, I feel like he fell far enough. The Rams will scoop a tight end, a nice target for Matthew Stafford over the middle. Maybe a little Eric Ebron from the, just a little comparison, because Matthew Stafford loves to kind of go check down with the tight end. I know he hasn't really done it too many times in the Rams offense, but maybe it's a new era here for the LA Rams. Ravens, this is a tough one. You need a guard, you need a cornerback, you need edge. Honestly, I really don't know what they do. They might just trade back at this point. Honestly, they could just go James Spears Jr. from Tennessee. I do love him, so you might as well go stack up that defensive line some more. The Lions, they need interior offensive line. Edge rusher wouldn't be a bad option either. Cornerback, safety, wide receiver. I feel like Luther Burden just sounds like a Lion to me. I don't know why, but it's just, honestly, it sounds like a pretty good move. Jamison Williams is their slot receiver, but I feel like they might want a little more offense of firepower on that. Maybe. It might sound stupid in the time being, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions go on the offense. And the Commanders, I don't, honestly, this is a tough spot to be in towards the end of the first round. They might just trade back, but they do need a cornerback. They just cut what's-his-face last season, so Mike Sancher still had to step up. Yeah, Emmanuel Forbes they cut last season. I don't know why that left my mind, but they definitely need a cornerback. They'll go with Jahad Barron from Texas. The Bills, they need a wide receiver pretty badly. Honestly, it's going to be a tough kind of season for the Bills. You lost a little bit. I mean, they gained a little bit too. So overall, I like the Bills team. They need some cornerback depth. They need some defensive tackle. This is a tough team. They lost Malik Collins to the Patriots, a division rival. I wouldn't be really want to take a wide receiver at number 30, but they could trade back as well. Honestly, let's go defensive tackle. Derek Harmon sitting right there, falling to the Bills. Moving to the Chiefs. I'm trying to just wrap it up here. Nick Scorton, Texas A&M edge, going to the Chiefs. And then pick number 32, they could go with safety just to kind of, or cornerback to replace C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I feel like that makes the most sense for if we're thinking about what the Eagles are going to do and just how that team kind of works. So why not go get Siobhan Reevil from Eastern Carolina? So overall, first round. I know it was a long one, but here are the results. Deep breath. All right. My first ever mock draft. I know it was a long one. I would have done a lot more trades, but honestly, hopefully I broke it down in terms of a standpoint for every team and what they need. I know I ran through the second half a little bit quicker, but definitely want to take some more time to look into the deeper rounds of this draft, right? If you want to see a 2-round mock draft, let me know. Got a little bit frantic towards the end. Apologies, but a little bit longer of a video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There is the 32 pick first round mock draft for myself. If you want to see me do a specific team, we can run through every single team and do 32 videos on 32 different teams. I think it could make it a little more specific for people wanting to watch their team and not just have to skip through every pick. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. It was a longer video. I had some fun doing it. Definitely gonna do some more trades. I think trades are definitely the most fun to do, but I'm rambling now. Thank you so much for watching. It's been the Big Z Breakdown with Mike Zanetti.